everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and I am so excited to be with you today because we're going to be really talking about sunsets and waves. This was a voted on picture that you guys found that you guys really wanted to paint, and I was able to license it and paint it. On the mic today is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
He is watching a stream, which, as you know, is a moody beast. He is tracking all the cameras so you guys can see what I'm painting, how I'm painting it, as I'm explaining it. And also, and just to, make sure he's juggling a whole circus back there, he's trying to keep up with comments. So if you guys have questions, he can ask the questions from you to me. We have a bunch of moderators in here. Those are people with wrenches. People with wrenches are kind of like watching the room, making sure everything's groovy, and also helping John see those comments. It helps if you have a question, if it's all in caps. You're not screaming at anybody, you're just trying to be seen, because this chat can get a little crazy. How many people do we have today?
Oh my gosh, I have to go over and look. I'm still pushing all the buttons.
He's just over there looking frantic. I wish if you saw his end, it would be like
299, 306.
Woohoo! Sherpa!
As soon as I look over there, it was like 299. So yeah,
We're Sherpa.
Now I have to go hit more buttons. I'm all scrambling for
Sherpa,
buttons.
and we haven't even started, because you know what? Because y'all want to know how to paint sunset waves, and oh my goodness, I really I got a Sherpazoid.
We have a crowd of people here who are today with us, so it's really nice, guys. Nice to see you.
Woo! Working as hard as I can to make sure Willem has something to do. Okay. Go Beavers! All right. So actually, you guys should get ready. I'm in a mood today. So we're going to talk about some things about sunsets. We're going to talk about the light area and this warm, cool area, and the warm area to the cool area. Let me do this again.
Okay, let's start over.
I'm going to explain sunsets much better than that.
Are you?
So what I'm going to talk about is in skies, the colors around whatever your sun is, whatever color scheme you're using, need to be warmer as they approach the sun. And they're going to be getting cooler as they get further away from the sun. Anything that's in the corridor of the sun is going to be warmer. Things that are further away are going to get cooler. And I'm going to show you some really easy ways to do that so that no matter what sunset sky you're painting, you're going to get better at. We're going to talk about the gradation from the top of the sky to the bottom and the second radial gradation that's coming out from the sun. We're also going to talk about how this reflection of light has to carry through, especially in waves.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, so we're going to be really covering a lot today, but it's going to be the kind of stuff that makes painting easier, more effective, and more fun. Are you guys ready to look at our materials?
We are. I think so.
Like we're going to sprint over there the 4 inches.
Look how far you went. Right there.
People are like, wait, is this... Okay. So I have an 11 by 14 canvas board. You could paint on stretched canvas, you could paint on board, you could paint on acrylic paper. It's really fine. I'm just really enjoying these boards right now because I have about a jillion paintings. And they help with storage.
And I think you can get like 4 or 5 of those to one canvas.
Yeah.
In the same
it's
space.
Although it's just space saving.
They are much denser. They are much heavier.
They are. So it's a whole thing. Okay, over here in our colors, we're going to talk real quick because we're really doing some landscape painting here. So I have 3 yellows, actually. I only have the Cad Yellow Medium out right now and the Indian Yellow. You could use Cad Yellow Deep or another Yellow Deep in replacement of this. I really love this. If you can get it, I recommend it. If you can't, use what you have. I have this warm red. This is Cad Red Light. And I have Primary Magenta. I have Ultramarine, Phthalo Blue, Dox Purple. My landscaping friend, Gloss Glazing Liquid, Titanium White. Later in the painting, I'm going to pull out some Yellow Ochre and some Phthalo Green for the ocean.
Cool.
Okay?
All right.
All right. So now we know what we're painting with.
I got questions real quick.
Oh, I have so many answers.
Is there a traceable?
Yes!
Okay.
Yes!
So there's a traceable, and you can find
Because
that.
I don't believe drawing is the only thing that makes a person an artist. I think drawing is an awesome skill. I love fantastic renderers. I was just talking today to friends about how much I love tattoo artists. People that can really draw are wonderful. It's a skill. You can learn it just like you're learning to paint with me. But if you don't have that skill yet today, don't like not paint because of it. We're just working on values anyways, and that doesn't require drawing.
So, and then the other thing is, so they got a traceable, and how many hoots might this be?
I'm going to say this is the Hat 2 hoot, low 3 hoot.
So, on our scale of 1 to 3, this is a 2 to 3 in difficulty.
I'm gonna end up probably putting this in the 3 hoot playlist. This is about where the pier was.
Yeah.
Some of you were like, "Wait, no, I barely." It's worth it. Learning this stuff is worth it. It makes you a brilliant, awesome artist.
Cool.
And isn't that what you want to be?
Yes.
Able to create your dreams on canvases. I think so.
All right.
Okay, I have some wishes on here that we're going to paint over and hopefully, put these good intentions in the universe. We have a wish from Brianna. She had a friend who passed, and she has wishes of support for the family. And then we have in our own community, Heather's little brush. Christian is going through some health stuff, and we're wishing for healing and hope in his medical journey. Kristen is looking for understanding and cures for genetic illnesses, and gosh, I wish that too. More medical knowledge out there.
Yeah.
Andrea wishes everyone a positive journey. I just thought that's a nice wish. Everybody have a positive journey. And then for our own Ian, we're wishing that it's just love and support to his family and his dad. They're going through a lot right now. All right. Let's talk about laying the sucker in.
All right.
Are you ready?
I am.
I put my piece of paper for that over here.
And I have a button that I can push.
Picture in picture. We have picture in picture.
Look at that.
So I printed out of the original painting that you guys shared with me was actually digital rendering. So it's a very different media than paint. It's really interesting translating digital paintings to a paint media. But regardless, what I did is I took my paper and I folded it in half lengthwise, and I folded it in half vertically.
Yeah.
And that gave me kind of this 4 boxes. And so what I can do on my canvas then, and then we did something similar with the, I feel like oh, there it is. I was like, I feel like I walked over and I got a T-square.
Yeah, and if you need, I can give you the
I'm going to measure the halfway point
up on your screen
on my canvas, which is for the math challenge, which I'm among you math challenge people. I've got my little inexpensive T-square. I'm just going to come to the 5.5 mark because this is 11 by 14, right? And then across here, I'm going to come to the 7 mark. I'm going to make the lightest lines ever that I can see, and hopefully you know I made them, but they're going to be super, 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 super light. This is going to match my 4 squares that I just folded in the paper and helps me, even if I'm not a drawer, lay in objects where they go. And I'm using my pencil very lightly because graphite, of course, gets into the paint. So in the picture, our horizon line, right, is a little bit above our wave and is a smidge above the halfway point. So what I found that I put it was just exactly a ruler's width. This is where I'm starting. My skyline is above this line right here. So I just used my ruler to approximate that distance. Now another thing I noticed is that my sun is over in the right hand side of my middle line, just above, like a couple fingers above my waterline. And then that lets me really, really easily put in my waves, because then I can be like, I know the wave is almost right at that middle line. And so I can be like, okay, it comes up, it's coming up almost to the sky, it crosses the middle line. This is just the top of the wave. It's going to come down a little bit. And then as I'm approaching my center part, I've got to come up. And all I'm doing is just looking at the 4 divisions and paying attention to one small line in my piece. Now another line that I have is just a few inches down. Let me put this over here from the top of my wave. I'm going to try to get an exact approximation if I can. Okay. that 1.5 down from this, right? There's this little line here. So I'm going to come in and put in, this is the shadow on my wave.
Just trying to adjust the camera to see that. It's so light.
Yeah, it is, it's light. But seeing my process will still help you guys create yours. I'm just using my blocking lines. Now I know my wave comes a little bit in front of this line. You know, and it's got some little edges and it's got some pockets that go up and down. And then above that, I'm going to have my shoreline. Comes over from the left, goes back a little bit. And basically what you're saying with the shoreline is that it's a wave rolling in. So you want to, I'm curving in here, the center. This is going to be where our corridor of light is coming. And I want to make sure I actually kind of make an adjustment here for the corridor of light. Because I'm going to show you a little trick. The corridor of light comes straight down from your sun.
There we go, a little better.
Your
Sorry,
brightest, hottest spots and reflections will be straight down this line. Now, all waves are different waves.
Yeah.
No two waves are alike, but there's just some things that they do. They have shadows at the front. They have a shadow up at the lip because it's coming at you. It's foreshortened. In other words, there's this perspective event where you're trying. See how my hand, even though it's coming at you, it's like the fingers look bigger, and it's the way we would draw that is to make these objects shorter to give them that appearance of coming at you. That's what we're talking about. When the object's coming at you, there's a shadow underneath that water lip. So these are all things that if we pay attention, then as we paint, even if we're painting a little fancifully, we're going to have a really good result. I'm going to sip my coffee because clearly I need some more caffeine.
Okay. Yeah.
Any questions? Before I start, oh my goodness, you can't see that at all.
Well, see, I had to adjust it back up over here. See, the problem is that as soon as we put any paint on the canvas, it messes up the balance because it has a completely different reflectiveness than the gesso does.
If I paint, I can draw it in darker, but
no,
then
it's okay.
I
did it.
Graphite. Did you fix it? Are you guys okay?
I think we're okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. So
Sounds amazing. I so appreciate him. This is why I like live, because you can be like, I can't see it.
See, if you
can't see any of it. It's all invisible to me.
Hold on. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll go over and I'll show you. Let me do this.
Okay. I don't know. I'm on another screen.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over. That way they don't see me.
So if you've got some questions before we start laying in paint, we're going to start up in the sky. We're going to start up. Oh, there we go. They could see it. Okay.
Yeah, you
so you kind of understand how I'm blocking that in. This isn't really a drawing skill. This is a mapping skill.
Yeah.
And mapping is something we can all do. And then as you're mapping, you're going to be kind of learning drawing. You're going to be learning how objects relate to each other and how they layer in on a landscape, right? So that's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to let John get back in case there's questions.
Okay.
And then we'll start laying in this landscape. And I'm going to show you how to rock a sunset, man. By winter, you guys are going to be able to rock a sunset and sunrise and gorgeous sky through pretty much any landscape environment ever. So you're going to love it. And people are going to be like, you suck at art. And you're going to be like, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. Okay.
All right. Sorry, I was just hitting buttons on camera. Lots of people are saying hello.
Hello.
And they like your hair today.
Thank you very much.
And there's a lot of people who are new and live today.
Hi, new people live.
And Amanda thinks your makeup is the bomb.
Amanda, I got new makeup.
Okay. So, and we do have a new question, though. A good
okay,
question.
I'm ready for good questions.
Natalie would like to know what value means.
Okay. So in painting, there's hue, right? Okay. There's hue. That's like, this is yellow, this be purple.
Okay.
Value is about its light and darkness.
Okay.
Right? And then there's also saturation in that grayness too. So when we're painting, we're playing with how light something is. This is very light. That's its value. In this painting, this is my white and this is my black.
Yeah.
That would be my grayscale in this painting. It's real nice sometimes to print out anything that you're going to do. Right? Now, I added more of a reflection because this artist didn't, this digital artist didn't, and I know it will have one. It just has to have one, which is why I kind of like the painting a little better than the other. And it's just about looking at those values, right? how light it is, how dark it is. If you can get your values together, you can paint in crazy colors. Right? I learned this, and I think it's so true. Over to the side so I have a reference so I know what the heck I'm doing, or I'll be lost all in the painting.
All right.
Sippy. That's a really good question, Natalie. Thank you. I love answering questions, but I also love painting, and I better get to it. So I think today I'm going to be working my Cambridge. This is a number 8 Cambridge Bright. This is bristles and filaments together, which means my bristle brush won't over soften. Because when you get bristles in water, these are great oil brushes because if you put them in walnut oil, they don't soften. They stay as springy. But in water, they get soft.
Oh, okay.
Important if you're a water-based oil painter, too, to know that. A lot of people switch to water-based oils, but they don't know it's going to make all the tools get all mushy.
Oh.
But in this case, they're synthetic filaments, so it won't. And I'm going to start with my lightest value, which is a little of my Cad Red Light. See, I'm pulling a small amount of that onto my bristles. I'm going to go right into my Indian Yellow. I'm going to lighten that value up a bit with some white. And if you need to, this is right around the corona of the sun, so you can get some Cad in there. This is landscape painting. So I put my sun in, and that's going to let me know. I got to get rid of my pencil marks.
Now, when
and I'm going to be just brushing this color over the white. This is the blocking in stage of the painting.
Now, here was a question here. Cheryl was wondering if the water is going to end up being Southern Ocean blue.
You could use Southern Ocean in this painting. I'm going to be mixing a phthalo turquoise with my phthalo green and my phthalo blue, and deepening it with ultramarine, dog's-eating purple, and Cad Red to get the values in my ocean.
Gotcha.
See, I'm just getting this out here, right? This is in my center. And this way I know everything coming in, right, is going to be valued around that. I'm also, while I'm here, let's just take a minute to pull some of this Indian Yellow with the oranges on there down this corridor, because here's the deal. We need to keep our yellow, the base yellow in here, very bright. When I do my wave, I'm actually going to go back with white paint so that I can paint my brush strokes in and then still keep my bright, bright, bright.
Now, Jerry
So I'm
was
just
asking,
pulling this right down to my wave from the horizon line down because I just need that corridor. Let's get that corridor. I'm going to rinse out my brush, and let's put in our darkest values. You know what? I moved away my...
Whoop.
Didn't happen. Don't tell anyone.
So Jerry wanted to know.
Hi, Jerry.
She says, is drawing with chalk or a watercolor pencil better?
So ideally, I think watercolor pencil can be better if you can pick a color in your pencils that blends well into your painting. Because whatever you draw on your canvas with, if you don't affix it down, is going to kind of bleed into your paint. And that's why sometimes graphite isn't ideal. All right, let's make this cool. Let's put in some of our cool values. Let's put in some of our darks. So let's get our phthalo blue and our ultramarine together. Now, we've never done this where you mix these together, but a lot of times when you're doing a sky, that's actually what you do, is you mix these two blues together, and we're going to cool it, warm it with a little bit of this red, right? Because this is a sunset. So we're adding a smidge of this red, and then we're going to add this amount of white here. See, I'm pulling a small amount of white, and I'm just lightening this value, but this is the dark value of my sky. And I'm going to get some glazing medium in that so it'll stick with me for a second. And I'm going to start pulling in my dark value. If you don't know how to get this weird sky color, if you didn't know it was phthalo blue and ultramarine and a little bit of magenta, it would make you crazy trying to make your phthalo blue do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to pull my dark values in further than I need them. All right? Further than I'm going to need them. Let's come down the sides. As I'm coming down the edge, I'm going to get kind of blended out towards this edge with this blue. All right? Let's finish this nice color up here. So I'm going to keep bringing this around. So you can be light and scratchy with your dark values like I'm being here. You see how it's kind of light and scratchy. You see the brush strokes?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to get juicy, right, with our highlights. In other words, we're going to put in rich, buttery highlights with our acrylic paint. This is one thing acrylic paint does great is rich, buttery. Rich and buttery for you and me. Nice, cool value. Just pulling this in around this outer edge. See? We will do some of my, a lot of people were like, oh no, the cloud brushes, will they be used throughout this whole thing? I probably will scumble in with them a little bit, but mostly I'm probably going to be hanging with brights and bristles today.
Okay.
You don't have to have a particular brush to do a job, you just have to know what the job looks like.
Right.
Now I'm pulling this in further than I need it. You can see I'm making this halo around my sky.
Now, Jennifer was asking. She says, she's new here. And,
Hi, Jennifer.
She wants to know why you're painting in that direction. Why don't you keep everything on a horizontal stroke?
Well, because the sky is in this direction. The clouds are moving in this direction. The wind is blowing it. So sometimes you want to have your brush strokes also indicate the shape or directionality of something.
Okay.
It's because we're just, this is a flat surface that's white, so we're making an illusion. And part of the illusion is by the direction of my brush strokes, the texture I'm applying, the values I'm using, the hues I'm mixing together. I'm creating this really cool illusion of a really perfect ideal sunset that probably does not exist in nature. Right? And so that's just one of the many tools that we have as artists to be like goofing around. I do rocky strokes when I'm doing rocks and woody strokes when I'm doing wood.
That's true. I've seen you do some very...
It is true. So that's why. That's a really good question. So here's another thing. So we have this orange here, and we have this blue, and if you've been painting with me for a while, you know these are complementary colors, aren't they? Now,
yeah.
as this comes closer, as colors come closer here, they're going to get warmer, and as they're getting further away, they're going to get cooler. So we've got to start pulling all of that in, and one of that is that, so I've got this blue, and I'm going to gray it a little bit with my orange. All right, so the halo and a little bit of magenta, and it's been grayed a little bit, right? Let's get our brush. This is our kind of darker color. We're just going to put this in a couple places, guys. Right? We're going to have this come through here. Just here on the edge here. This is a fun landscape painting day. So I'm curving my brush stroke in, right? You can see these clouds starting to take shape. You can see these values starting to have meaning.
Now,
Let's get some of that color here at the outer edge. We've got just a little bit of it, and we need a little bit. So let's come at the outer edge.
now they were noticing that...
Yes.
let's see here. I'm just scrolling back up here to the...
They were noticing I lost the question.
Yes, I noticed the question. There's several questions that had come up here.
Let's get a little of that Indian yellow in there just to gray it out because they're complements. It'll neutralize each other and it'll make this nice dark color. And we can work this at the outer edge.
You can still see some of the canvas through there.
Well, right now, but as we paint it, we won't.
Okay, that's okay for right now on this
For
blocking.
right now. Now we can tone a canvas ahead of time. And that's a way to address that. Or if you're doing very bright colored paintings, you work against the white. Really just depends on what you're trying to do. This is a very bright saturated painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we were doing a painting that was really grayed out and a pop of color right here, which is something we're going to do coming up, we're going to work on that, then we do that differently. These are really just these skills. So we've got this here, we've got this here. I'm going to come in and I'm going to add some of my magenta to this mix and a little bit of my, I know it's going to seem so crazy, Indian yellow. And we're going to lighten it. And let's start putting the shadow of these clouds coming up here. Coming up here just a little bit. I'm going to Bring this little guy up here. You could do this with a fan brush. You could do this with your finger. We're just building and blocking in these values. And again, like I said, the dark values, they can be a little bit kind of scratchy and thin. And then as we get our lighter colors in here, they're going to lighten up. We're painting something that's going to make everybody go, what? No way. And you're going to be like, yeah, totally did it. It's awesome.
I really liked how these, how the sunset's been popping here, the ones you've been working on lately. So
yeah. Well, it's time to get the pop, 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 like Ruby Rod. So see, I added a light value and I'm pulling that up.
mm-hmm.
This is cool. Isn't it cool?
Now,
It's a cool value, and so therefore it works really well. Let's add this up. All right, we'll warm it up as we approach the sun and as the sun lights some of these clouds, but we need some of these values out here cooling it up. Here's a nice, let's put this light little guy up here. I need a little more white here. Getting a little thin on my brush. Just add that right there, right? Telling this little story. Cool out here, warming up. It just really, all we have to do is be warming up our colors as we come in. And it's okay that they gray out because clouds are actually kind of mostly gray. I get a little crazy in my color because I love color. Now I'm going to scrumble back and forth. Just working my little brush. Is this hard on your bristle brush? Yes. And that's why you got to take your brush to the brush spa. So it can recover from the abuse when mommy paints with it.
Now, your cloud brushes are more designed for this kind of stuff.
My cloud brushes do this as well, and we're going to come in and do some cloud work in here. You know, I think it's just important to me. Like, I love creating a great tool, and I want you to use those tools and enjoy this. Here's the thing on the cloud brushes. Cloud brushes are great dry brushing brushes. They're not, like, if everything is sticky with glazing medium, then they get all stuck in the paint. But when you're just trying to do a light dry brushing, they are the bomb. But they are not the only tool.
Right.
And I just don't want you guys to feel like the only tool. I just want to remember, even a finger
Now,
is a good tool.
Where can they find the traceables?
Traceables should be on the website on this paintings page.
Excellent.
All of our paintings, like there's a gallery and then there's links to all the paintings. You can see all 400 of them or something. Because I guess I have been busy. So I'm going to offload here, and I think I'm going to take a little of this this magenta over to this CAD here. See what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
There's still a little blue on my brush. I haven't rinsed. I'm loath to rinse.
Why is that?
Well, the thing is that there's this great pigment already on my brush, and if I rinse, I'm going to lose my great pigment.
Oh.
I might even smidge in a smidge of my Indian yellow, and I'm going to start coming here and telling this, ooh, that was too warm. Too much Indian yellow. Ow, 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 ow. Too warm. Too far away from the sun to be that warm. See, look at that. So now we're starting to warm up this sky, aren't we? Telling this fantastic story. I love telling this story. I bet this time I did the sunsets even better than the first time I did it. I'm back here. I'm over here on the left-hand side, and I'm just taking some cloud up, right? Look at the brush just leaving this cloud. I'm just going back and forth. I think we get so into clouds emotionally that when we're trying to do the shapes of them, it just breaks our brains. We just need to know that these are just values and shadows and shapes. Just working this in. Loading up my brush, a little more pigment. Come here, let's take some of this. Oh, this is so nice. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah.
So much fun, and I love doing it. I love doing this. I love that you guys like these landscapes because I love painting them. See, I'm just pushing. I don't know if you can see this there, how I'm just pushing this.
Yeah.
Do you guys go, what the heck? How does that work? It just works. Scumble. It just works. Rumble, scumble in the jungle. Just adding a little pigment. Make sure I get a little white. Might need a little glazing medium because I don't want to get water yet. And I'm going to come out here and also tell some cloud story coming over to my right hand side. Maybe there's some of this kind of pink up here. And see how light I'm being? How much of the... You can see how like the canvas is going to just get painted over. I haven't even gotten juicy yet. I haven't even gotten big with my color. I'm going to just... Let's come right here. Give me some glazing medium to extend my paint. I'm going to come here. Let's tell this story. Sunsets are like the Zen, the meditative doodling. I don't want to say that because I think the other thing's copyrighted. But it is. It's a lot like that. It's a meditative healing process. To paint this kind of imagery, it's good for you.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to take, there's a cloud bank down here. And it's quite warm as it gets in the sun. And look at that, I'm going to add that here. I know I'm going to be darkening that out to the right, but having this here now, like I'm just pushing this little brush around. So that makes this just, make a little bank. And I rotate it. Weird little things that artists do that sometimes even when we're teaching classes we forget to say. Oh, I'm rotating this brush in my fingers and it's varying the shape of my cloud. Helpful information you guys need that we sometimes forget to share with you. So I'm just kind of finishing this space out. Here's me rotating again in my fingers. See how I'm just, as I'm painting, I'm rotating. I am leaning into the roughness and craziness that is going on here. Now I'm going to be going in, so I'm adding a little more magenta into my cad red light, right? A little more into that. You know, I still want some white in there. And I might add some yellow. Nicer, warmer color. What? Yes. And then I'm gonna, I think also in this nicer, warmer color, I want a really light version of this to come up here. Let's add the highlights to these clouds. See, I'm just on the edge of this brush. There's some of that up here. And I'm highlighting, so what you guys might not be aware of is I'm highlighting what is underneath. The shadow of the clouds has to be up at the top. And I am creating a highlight. It's pulling from the bottom. Let's come along here. Adding that highlight. I'm going to come in here and see this color coming in and adding this highlight.
Yeah.
Let's come along the top of here with this. I'm going to really, really hit this. Let's warm it up. Lighten it up. And it's okay if you want to add a smidge of yellow to it. See, I got that little bit on my corner.
Yeah.
Warming it up. Let's come along here. Blending that highlighted, because we have the ombre, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Between the sun and the horizon line, and then also the corona. I can only take this so far out, and then I've got to go light. I've either got to darken the paint or dry brush it so that the cloud cools.
Cool. Nice.
Those are my choices. Let's come and bring some of that here. We know we've got a top cloud bank here, but let's work some of this warm. And then see, as I went out here to the edge, I pulled it away. I let the dry brushing allow my paint to cool out. Let's put a little highlight under this bit of the cloud, maybe some here. And they're just starting to come, aren't they?
Yeah.
So many layers. And that's what makes this challenging, I think, is the layers. All right, as we're coming along, little red, little yellow. It's pretty great. Now I'm starting to put this warm, warm, warm. Let's get some gel into that. I may have to rinse out soon. The gel does help my brush not dry out, but it's still good. I just warmed this up a bit. See how that warmed up?
Yeah.
But it's great because the brightest pop is going to be here in the center. And then under some highlights that are happening. And I don't want to lose that. I'm going to warm this up right here, even a little bit. come here and underneath this bad boy. Right there. So we're just pulling some. Now I'm just trying to pay attention to what I did before and not get lost in this new sunset. And that happens. So I'm warming this up around the sun. Now I've got to do 2 dark banks coming in. I'm going to rinse out because it's a good opportunity to do it. And then I'm going to come put the highlights in, and then you're going to be like, where'd that sunset come from?
Mm-hmm.
You'll be like, what the heck? I'm going to be like, yeah, it's like that. Let's go paint some ocean.
So we have to, we have some interesting upcoming stuff. I don't know if you know that, let's see here, September 4th is Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. Right, no, it's Labor Day.
Labor Day.
It's Labor Day. And it is also the next 24-hour marathon up on Canton, Ohio 15. So
thank you, Canton, Ohio.
And I have a graphic up, but
you should paint the sunset with me, Canton, Ohio.
They're
not everyone all around the world.
I think they are.
You know what else we have that's coming up that's really cool?
What's that?
An 8 a.m. live next Tuesday.
Oh, that's right.
We're going to start doing some 8 a.m. lives because we realize that's a sweet spot kind of globally for viewership.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's later in the evening in Australia, but it's not so late. It's not like 3 in the morning like this is right now. And then it's also kind of a reasonable time for like Asia and stuff like that. So we're going to...
Yeah.
And we can still see California and
So
everybody. So we're going to do it 8 a.m.
Yeah. Now, if you're in Ohio and you can get Canton Channel 15.
Channel 15?
Channel 15 will be on Labor Day, all 24 hours. And every first Monday of the month is 24 hours of Sherpa. So you can catch
24 hours of me.
The marathon up on Canton. So
well, there you go.
I think that's awesome.
That's either a dream come true or a fresh nightmare. It's one of those two things, depending on where you are on the chatting debate. All right, let's shadow up our clouds, baby.
All right, let's finish up our clouds.
Okay, so I'm going to put in a very nice shadow here. I'm going to take my blue, both my ultramarine and my phthalo blue. I'm going to add a little purple to it. In a smidge of magenta to tie it in. And I'm going to make a very dark cloud bank here. All right, a little more magenta even into that. This is my dark cloud bank. Just coming forward. Got to keep my horizon line, or I will be in trouble. It is okay to take your dark below your horizon line. You can always put it back. All right, I'm going to make a little bridge here of warmth pulling back out, but I got to get this first cool color in. Let's get a little of our gel so we can go far. Let's do the same thing here. And you can just see that, look, all I'm doing is I rotate my brush, and I'm just back and forth. I just sort of do this wiggly thing. I'm just going to dry brush it into here because I know I'm going to come back with some warmth into this blue, right? Because further away it's cooler, up closer it's warmer. Sun is warm, space is cool. Kind of works like that. We only have a planet because we're so close to the sun.
Now, I guess
I'm just adding some magenta into my ultramarine just to make sure that this outer area is dark as I really want it to be. And then I'm going to do an interesting thing.
What interesting thing?
I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to get some more magenta on my brush. See how I'm pulling that? Can you see as I pull it out how much more magenta? It gets all kind of purple.
Turns purpley.
And then I'm going to blend this into the clouds here, this dark bank, because...
It makes layers?
Because layers, and also because I got to warm it up.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Magenta.
I guess it's good to let people know that we're on Central Time. Central
Time, yeah.
So that when we're up at 8 a.m., that's 8 a.m. Central.
Central. So it'd be like 6 a.m. Pacific. Sorry, guys. 9 a.m.
East Coast.
East Coast. Something like 11 p.m. in Australia, like the meeting time in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, in India, it'd be like 5:30, 6:30, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a world clock. You can look it up.
We will do that later.
All right. I'm going to add some...
We should put that on the website, a world clock.
Some of my CAD red light into that mixture I have. And then let's add some white to it. I think even some more magenta, but I'm just lightening and warming this up, right? Let's come here. We're warming it up.
Oh.
Right? Just telling a story of this bank getting warmer as it comes in. And I really like this color that I've mixed here. It needs to go some other places.
Oh, yeah?
Let's put some of this. This could be like a dark cloud. This could be a shadow cloud that's coming here.
Yeah.
And comes off, and then we'll just underlight that. Get a little more magenta into it in that purple. We could put a nice dark cloud up here. Give a little bank of cloud that's up here. Rolling my brush out. You can just see I'm going around. I suppose I could pull into my other brushes. I'm just having, I don't really need to change out, man. I'm just kind of still good.
Yeah. That was
Right.
I saw an interesting question come by here. I'm going to scroll back
I'm
up
going
to
to
it.
add a couple more dark banks while we're at it, dudes. Let's put another dark bank coming off here. And let's get a little more magenta because we don't want to be the same color. Maybe even a little more cad. And just say like right here. There's another kind of redder, warmer dark bank.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself a couple of these. You know, don't deprive yourself. Don't deprive yourself. I'm going to wipe this off and I'm going to warm this up.
Mm.
So now I've got my brush dirty and I'm getting into my Indian yellow and my cad red light. John's going to ask me a question because I'm talking over it.
No, it's okay. Can you push the canvas, the palette forward just a little bit there? So that perfect.
All right. Let's start to warm it up.
So Marilyn's husband is on August 21st, which is the solar eclipse. And so she was wondering, do you have any good eclipse paintings or space paintings?
Guess what we're doing, Marilyn?
What are we going to do?
We're telling them.
Well, tell them.
We are going to be on every day for Space Week.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be doing those live at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm going to take some of this warm color out here. So we're going to be joining you.
So you can expect lots of space.
Lots. So
coming up
much
here.
space painting. So much. Oh, I'm just loving this. Let's put some nice warmth under here.
Well, I guess if you were from Austin, you could do a bat painting with this kind of sunset.
Yes.
Because there was someone's like, "Ooh, bats in the sky. That would be great." And I was
I'm
like, "Oh yeah, in Austin, I
Indian
remember
yellow and a little bit of white. I'm going to warm this up down here. Look at this. Warming it up.
that." Mm-hmm.
It's still gray though, right? But it's warmed up. I'm going to rinse this out. I know, sunsets. They're a whole ton of work, but look, you're almost getting there.
It's looking really good.
Look at where we're going. I can see some areas up here. We got to warm it up. So let's take some of our colors that we made that were warm, right? And come up and warm up that sky just a smidge. Now some of this is when John was, this is a lighter color and I'm coming up to the top of this.
Mm-hmm.
Just pulling this up. Some of this is that when we're color balancing the images, it's crazy.
Well, so we're looking at reflected light on the canvas.
I'm going to get some.
Right? The light comes from the lights, it reflects off the paint, and then the camera captures it. Whereas the picture-in-picture image has a photograph that was then now put into the screen and is now what we call transmissive. So the light is being emitted from it.
Yeah.
And now this is where things get super complicated because you at home are watching an image.
While I'm lightening up the bottom half of this cloud.
Mm-hmm. And that image is also luminous because it's got light coming from the background of the screen. So no one is actually seeing the painting as it actually exists as a painting. And that's why things in print or things when you go to a museum to look at them look different than they do in photographs.
I'm adding a glow around this dark cloud.
Mm-hmm.
You can see this coming in. Want this cloud to have kind of a glow. I'm coming to the bottom of this. Then, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of creating these glows around these shapes. Just telling that story. I'm going to rinse this out a bit. I feel like I want to make some pretty pure orange. So I'm going to take a little of my cad red and a little of my cad yellow. Glazing medium. I'm going to come in here, and you're going to see this just, doesn't that richen that up?
Oh, yeah.
And then this is going to come down a little bit. And see, it's like a glaze. Maybe put some of this here. Push out some of this color this way. See how we're pushing it out? So now the corona is starting to come out, which we definitely want. And then I'm going to get right into my yellow and my white. I'm going to add some of this glow with this bright. So add some of that right there. We're just glowing it up. One of the issues that we have as acrylic artists is hard edges versus soft edges. In a future painting, we're going to be working on that together. I'm going to put a little glow here. Add some of this at the bottom. And pull it down into my water. Right? Like you do. And then the last thing I really want to do is I want to get out some light. White and yellow. That's not really last, but because I still have. And I'm going to drop down, and I could do this with a palette knife, even whiter. Or my brush, but I'm just putting a little highlight on the bottom of these dark clouds. Can you see this little highlight going there? This is the sun hitting these guys. See the sun hitting these guys?
Yeah.
If I go out, I need to cool that highlight, right? Can't be as bright and warm. Let's add some of that here. We're just telling that story, and there could be, maybe there's something in the clouds we're not seeing here, right? They're getting a little highlight from our sun. Let's look back at that. Can I see that full screen? All right, so that's starting to be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about it starting to be a thing.
Oh, no, it's a cool looking thing. So you can see it there, too. I got it zoomed in a little bit more.
I'm going to balance this out a little bit. So
You look up right to the screen before you get, I see I have to go over here. Now, hold on. Now you mix your stuff. Now you look. See?
Okay.
It's good.
So I'm just darkening this outer edge here with some purple. I'm going to come here and just glaze a little purple because I just feel like...
So we're in a very small studio, and sometimes Cinnamon likes to take a step back to look at the painting, but it's hard for her to get a 3 or 4 foot step back when her painting is squeezed in by cameras. So
I'm just cooling this back here. See, I'm cooling this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to get a little of this magenta and this purple, and I'm just going to make sure that we're feeling sunsetty. Pulling this back. Glazing that back. Important stuff. All right. Rinsing this out. Give this little bad boy a rest. Pick up his brother, who is in number 4.
Slightly smaller.
This is going to be just a touch of the cad yellow and mostly white. Just going to paint my little sun here. And I may, just for effect, come in with some cad around the corona and just warm that up. See that?
Yeah.
Pop some of that color here and there. Get a little playful.
While we're here on the sun. I will say, for anyone who's watching the eclipse coming up, please make sure you use
Ooh,
proper...
I just brightened that up. Or the camera's really hot.
Oh, no, it's good. See here, look. You did a great job.
I was like, what the heck?
So this camera is a little hotter because the way that they balance out. This one will be balanced once we get all the colors in.
Yeah.
But and then this one will have to adjust up a little bit. But
I'm just going to take this little reflection down here. Guys, see that? Because we know it needs to come down this little runway, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for anyone who's enjoying the eclipse this year, make sure you use proper eye safety. Check NASA's website for that. That's just some important stuff.
All right. So I feel like we've got a nice little sunset going. How are you guys doing on your sunset?
They're doing really,
I could use a coffee
good.
warm-up, and then we're going to rock out this beach and this wave.
And Rachel just said she thinks that your hair has been rocking in these latest videos, and she just wanted to say, that's pretty awesome.
I'm working on it.
So I need to...
I'll give it a go.
I'm on coffee duty here.
Yeah, I can do comments if you want to do coffee duty. I could probably use a fresh cup, actually. Sad. Are you guys okay if I get a cup of coffee? Okay. These more involved paintings, they're like a thing to do, so definitely, I want to show you every part of it and explain that to you. Hello, Marty! Do I have a tutorial on values? Shaz, I have a whole thing called the Big Art Quest. It's a playlist, and we actually did cover, so what I did in the Big Art Quest is I just wanted something that just explains some basic terms and mediums and products and things, like stuff you might need to know as an artist, and try to make them as simple as possible, but still, explain them correctly. So, yeah, there's definitely a video on that. Diane says it's her 61st birthday, and she's going to eat paint and eat cake. Don't eat paint, Diane. And paint the painting. Have cake and paint. It's a good plan. Gail says she's been tempted to put a little purple pink in her hair, and her husband would freak, though. Oh, he might like it. You never know, Gail. So, Jennifer's like, get 2 coffees. Are you guys keeping up with me? How's it going, keeping up? And Leslie says she loves watching our live streams. You know what? It's crazy, but I like watching live streams, too. I was going into another person's stream if I really like their channel and just be like, yo! Because nobody knows who I am, but then sometimes people in the room know who I am, and they're like, you're here, too. I'm like, full-on fangirling. Amanda says, Space Kevin. Kevin loves you guys, just you know. Nita's like, coffee plus Sherpa equals dance. Sherpa Zoid, you know it's true. DT Hurley, do I ever paint D&D characters? Yes, I do. I did a necrotic beholder. You can find it on the channel, and I've done quite a few dragons. Might do more. I used to paint my friends' characters. Oh, and we did a dragon-esque elf. She's a dragon high elf priestess, so that was pretty cool. Plus, we did Azurwing with pros. Yeah, we dork out. It's a serious problem. And there's no glitching today, says Vlin der Jete. Am I saying this wrong? I'm really sorry if I am, but I appreciate you saying that there's no glitching today. I appreciate that. And Amelia says I'm doing lovely. And Frisky Christie says her husband loves the blue hair. Nita says namaste from India. Hi, India. How are you guys doing? So ready to paint today. I really, really appreciate all my artists from all around the world. That's really exciting to me. And then Manon says that she just loves everything I do. That's cool. Thank you. I hope you guys love everything you do. That's like the whole point. Because I was painting before I had this YouTube channel. It's really important that you guys are painting now.
Okay, let me see if I can find my buttons again. Buttons.
I hope everyone is going to join me like every day of Space Week in the mornings. All right, when I get into the ocean, I'm going to have to pull out my other color. My green. And start getting in my ocean colors.
Is there an alternative to Indian yellow?
Again, cad yellow deep. Any deep yellow will kind of give you that. What you're trying to get is like a very light yellow, a warm yellow, a cool yellow, a grade yellow.
Similar with the reds there?
Ochre. Yeah. You see how we have a very cool red and a very warm red?
Gotcha. Okay.
And when we say cool or warm, what we're talking about is if you imagine the colors are on a wheel, the closer things get to red and yellow, the warmer they are. The closer things get to green and blue, blue and purple, the cooler they are. And then there's this weird, every primary has a warm and a cool tone, and it's a whole. Color theory, it's a journey. We have a video on that too. All right, let's put in our cool little ocean in our wave. Now, something I'm going to do on my wave. I'm going to put in my wave and then add white highlights, allow them to dry to put in my yellow highlights. Because I really, the brush directionality is super important. But before that, I've got to put in my dark ocean color, which is going to be phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, phthalo green, and then for this outer edge, I'm going to put a little dog's name purple in it. See that color right there? Deep ocean color. And I'm going to come to this outer edge on the edge of my brush, painting inward. And I'm just bringing my dark value in here. Let me bring in my dark values. Look at that go. Bringing in those dark outer values. Let's get some of that on the brush again. That's a good color on the brush.
Oh, you're going to this side?
Yep, over on the other side. Dark values. Some dark values. Let's just put them in. Let's just put them in, our nice ocean colors. It's really fun and easy to get good ocean colors. It's just knowing. And knowing is half the battle. All right. Yeah, so I'm adding a little purple to this. On the outside edge, I'm keeping my just phthalo turquoise there so I can lighten it up. But you can just see I'm just darkening, darkening, darkening. I want this because what is this? It's further away from the sun, so it's the cool, isn't it?
Oh,
Same
yeah.
values applying. We're going to be doing this through the wave, through everything. If you guys can start just thinking about that experience, where the sunlight is, where colors are warmed, and where they're cooled, your landscape painting, your portrait painting, everything gets better. Even for me, just for everybody, for every artist. Everywhere. All right. So now I'm coming in closer, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to get a little more green on my brush and add a little phthalo blue. And I'm even going to pull a little white in. So we've lightened that value. Give ourselves some, look at that. And I'm blending it. Always paint your darks a little further than you need them because you can always come back with your lighter value. Right here. There you go. Just blending that out. And then as I get closer to here, I'm going to warm it up. Now I'm going to use my Indian yellow to warm it up. You guys can use what you have. Let's see, that's just an easy little thing that you can do. Easy little thing. Oh, it's looking good. Okay. So I'm going to get this yellow into this color. A little white. And here we go, right here. Doesn't that look like crazy cool? And then on my edge, so I'm doing a similar thing here. I don't want to make a corridor straight line. I want to have ripples in my water. Unexpected shadows, right? So I've got to vary my line even as I'm coming closer. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
All right, let's do the same on this side.
Now, is there
This
anything...
noise definitely helps me too.
Now, for blending here, do you have any tips for people? Is the brush part of your success? What is it that makes blending easier here?
Okay, so if John will get me, all right, first thing, and you guys on the replay have to be nice. If I were to do a drilled down, totally knock it out for you blending demo real fast, it might add a little time in the video, but would it be okay with everybody? Can you grab me just a little canvas and I'm going to show them a couple tricks. One of the little ones. And it can be like an old dirty one. It doesn't really matter. You are going to rest for a minute and have a little thing. All right. So here's the deal. Blending is about a couple of things. There's an optical blending. That's how your eye sees color and how it relates to each other. And then physically blending into the paint, right? So like the pointillist were optical blenders. They put two colors next to each other. See blue and red next to each other, you think it's purple. That's an optical blend, but then there's physical blending. So I got to put out some more of this I'm going to put out some just Indian yellow. I moistened this with water because I need this to be fluid and not drying on me for 2 seconds. So see this right here?
Mm-hmm.
This is wet now, right? The paint is wet. While this paint is wet, I can come back with some cad yellow and brush up into it and blend it very easily. I can get my magenta right on my brush. Everything's still wet. Blending it very easily. I'm just going back and forth, right? If I want to blend this and soften this even further, this is the hard edges versus soft edges, I could take a soft brush like, ooh, my softest fan brush. This is a Silver Monza fan. It's very soft. Look at this. Paint's still wet though. Soften it out, can't I? Look at that softening. Blend, 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 blend. Now, if I'm not a fast painter, my gloss glazing liquid is a retarder. It slows the drying time down on my paint, which allows me to blend longer, and it's a glaze. You can get just a retarder, which is just really slows the paint drying time down, but there's an exact formulation you have to mix it in, and if you take it too far, it messes with your paint, which is why I don't show it to you guys as often. I have a whole quest on blending, where I show dry brushing, glazing, and this type of blending. But it really is just basically down to, is your paint still wet? Because then you're going to blend those, you can see those two colors together. Or are you optically blending? So if this is dry,
and I'll say, wow, while she's drying. There are a lot of people here today. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out. This has been a really good time.
about this, guys. But if everybody here today will then know. All right. So then if I take, like, say, my cad yellow, right, and a little white on here, and I want to do a dry blend lighten, I can come over and dry brush this. This is another way to blend, because the pigment very lightly and loosely, right? See how it's kind of like a blending too. When you get visually far away from this, this can look like a very soft blended edge. That's the basis of the cloud brush, right? But say everything's dry and I need a different kind of blend, I can also use my glaze and glaze over it. See how that's blended?
Yeah.
Because it's transparent and it's allowing the paint underneath to show through. That is blending.
Nice.
It is not in the brush. Once again, it's in you.
Gotcha. No.
Okay, weird deviation. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No. Why is it called retarder?
Because paint companies should never be allowed to name anything. At the end of the day, this is what it is. So it should, I don't know,
it slows down paint drying.
Yeah, flow aid actually is a sulficant. It's not what anybody thinks it is. It's just crazy.
So
it just slows the paint. It slows it down.
The challenge here is that you have,
not to sound like a complete jerk when you're talking about the front.
you have really smart chemists who are trying to explain to artists what a product does, and so
then they call it SID.
Well,
SID, not SIDS. SID. So you're like,
structural induced discoloration. And there's a whole lot of things where it's like and this is the tough part, because sometimes a product speaks to its wet state or its dry state, or sometimes it talks about
its a viscosity state.
Yeah, and so these are very complicated things.
Chemistry problems
it's why we have the big art quest.
It's why we have the big art quest, because you're like, heavy gel, tar gel, bead gel,
string gel,
soft gel, gel medium. Wait, what? Medium what?
Well, wait, is it a medium tar gel medium?
Oh, it's such a thing. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not picking on my friends.
No,
but that's just
There's a lot of people echoing the comments. It's a legitimate challenge to learn about this stuff.
It's a problem.
So
I'm going to take my ultramarine in my phthalo blue and my Doc's purple. I'm going to mix them together. And in this case, to really deepen it, I'm going to add a smidge of cad red. Not a lot, but see how that's very dark. This, for all intents and purposes, on my painting is my black.
Mm.
And this is going to go under. I'm going to come along the line I made of my wave. Right? And I'm going to take this a couple of places. I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to use my glazing medium to have a nice pull. I'm going to pull this dark value down. And then I'm going to take it up the wave, and then I'm going to make a shadow on the wave. And then one under here. May take a couple coats to get the darkness. I don't necessarily feel like using black, though. It can, I don't think it's intrinsically should be out of every artist's palette. I just think when you're new, it's really easy to muddy your colors. I think experienced artists should absolutely have black in their palette. My mom and I actually fight about this a lot. And I just think new painters probably maybe not as much. Because it's just a powerful color. And when it messes you up, it can mess you up big. So that's why I like to use a chromatic black in my painting, which is stuff that equates to the value of black and looks optically black to the eye, but is in no way containing any black pigment. Okay, so phthalo, blue, Doc's purple, cad red. There we go, still the right color. And now when I come up the wave, though, I'm gonna do that brush directionality stroke we were talking about. You're blocking me visually. Here, I like to do a thing where I'm going to come up and go to the right on the curl. And then on the other side, I'm going to go the other way.
Go the other way?
Go the other way.
Okay.
See? This is just helping me.
If it's helping you, then I'm happy.
It helps me. It helps all of you. I'm going to take this further than I need it. It's kind of like a little spray of bouquet or something. And what that's going to do is that's going to help us determine the feeling of the curl as it's happening.
Yes.
Feeling of the curl. Feeling of the curl. And I've got to bring a shadow under here. So let's get more of that.
A shadow under there.
Shadow under here. Bunch of shadows here. We're putting in our darks first.
And Gail said, thank you very much for the mini blending class.
Oh, you're so welcome, Gail. Just good sometimes to refresh, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm extending the shadow way past where I need it. Way past where I need it, but I'm going to blend up the highlights into it, and it's going to be a very nice effect. And I'm pulling, you might notice that I'm pulling my strokes vertically down, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's helping me. Later, it'll help me a lot.
Yeah.
Come here, canvas. Actually, you know what? Watch me do this. I'm going to flip it.
We can see that.
Magic trick. I'm going
just
to put out some more paint because this stuff is drying on my palette while I'm painting, trying to stress me out. And I'm like, no paint. No. Wait, I've gone to Lula from Preacher. Do you ever just like channel your favorite characters on a show? Mother Dragon's Day here in the house is a scary day. My kids know it's on like Donkey Kong then if I go all Daenerys. Anywho.
Ooh, Tanya asks a good question.
Oh, I'd love to answer Tanya's good question.
Why is a painting called a study?
Well, it is if it's a study.
So that's a good, it's kind of a trick question there, isn't it?
It is sort of a trick question. So in a painting process, when you're working on a finished painting or complete painting, the idea of that painting would be this is stuff I am showing forward facing to the public. I might exhibit, I might show it, I'm going to hang it on my wall. It's my finished and resolved thought. Mm-hmm. In that process, ideally, you would be doing studies. In other words, little practices. Like nobody does a roundhouse off back flip, triple flip back thing in the Olympics like their first try, right? There's a lot of practice.
So like,
and then they do their show flip.
So you may have experimented a couple of times with like different clouds and a little tiny thing just to go, do I want purple clouds or yellow clouds or orange clouds?
A grayscale study. Genius if you have time to do it, man. Check out those values. Do a couple color studies.
And study just means that is not
Practice.
designed to be the final painting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like you're thinking out some ideas, like
You're testing.
testing it out, being like, you know, like sometimes you do stuff in your kitchen that you're not really planning to feed anybody yet. You're figuring it out.
Mm.
And then you're like, oh, this is really good. I should make this again.
Yeah.
So take notes when stuff works. All right. I'm going to come under the lip. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
I'm putting this little shadow down here because I know my foam
Mm-hmm.
is going to need it. It's going to need this little shadow here.
Now when your pallet's dry, to keep your palette from drying out, you just spray a little bit of atomized water sometimes.
Yes. I mean, you can have a wet palette. I have a video on how to make like a free wet palette to keep your paint longer. If you have a lot of paint at the end of a painting session. Flipping back over. Anybody have vertigo? I was watching a live stream yesterday that gave me so much vertigo, but it was a lot of fun. I'm just deepening this value right here at the base of this wave. This is the foot of the wave, right? So this is the thickest the water is. The least light can get through it.
Yeah.
And this is the cone where we're going to see some light reflected all through here, and it's super nice, it's super fun, and we want to see that. Okay. There's a dark shadow here.
Is there a dark shadow there?
There is. There's a dark, dark street. And I'm just going to take my phthalo green and my phthalo blue and make my deepest, darkest phthalo turquoise. But I have not rinsed my brush. I have not rinsed my brush. And I'm going to just come to the middle of this wave and drop down. And see, I'm curving my stroke. Look at me curving this stroke.
Mm.
Curvy, 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 curvy. Talking about the shape, letting the bristles and all that. Talk about the stroke shape. Right? Kind of like we did in the dock. I might even deepen a section of this, depending on how we're feeling. Just curving it. The curve of the world is blue and green and green and blue. All right, so we're going, 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 going. Don't worry, it's not a singing show. Don't panic. Ooh, you know where else I want a shadow?
Where's that?
Along the lip of this wave, so I'm adding some purple to my mix. And I'm going to come here. And I'm going to right under here, just add a little bit of a shadow. Just a little bit. A lot of that's going to go away. And I might come grab now, I'm going to get back into my phthalo turquoise, which is my phthalo green and my phthalo blue. And add a little white to it. Top of this wave. From about this midpoint, I'm going to marry these two spots with this lighter color. I'm going to make it even lighter so you guys can really see it. And it's okay because there's a highlight at the back of the wave. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely need that there. All right. So I just want to make sure I had that there. Back into this nonsense.
Oh, okay.
Back into that nonsense. Purple and blue. They will do. Little cad red. Little cad red. Warm it up. All right. So right here in the center of this, I'm going to brush a deep shadow. See, I'm just dry brushing that deep shadow. I just want to make sure that this curve has some rich value. Now here, back to my phthalo turquoise, which is my phthalo green and my phthalo blue,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of white. Let's come up here. Brushing that stroke back up. And it can help to vary the length it goes blending back into the shading. Because what we're doing is we're shading a pipe, a round object, a cylinder. So we're just blocking this in. We'll come back with highlights and some more lowlights, but we're just talking about its little aspect here, right? And then and take a little of this phthalo turquoise, like you do.
Like you do.
Like I do, like you do, like we all do.
I don't do that.
So let's get our glaze. It blends down nicely. And start shading our wave. So this is a nice light color. Right? Pretty saturated.
Now they were noticing that there wasn't that there wasn't much of an underpainting on this.
No, because we're trying to create really saturated colors.
So you really like that white underneath the canvas
For this.
because you need those bright colors.
Yeah, for the bright colors that it is. We're just this in a sense, this is called blocking in and underpainting.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't do a toned canvas or an acrylic color ground. Now I'm just going to come across the top of this. Now a lot of this is going to have sunlight reflected on it, but I just want to make sure. And I'm going to do the weirdest thing. I'm going to come back with some white, dry brush some white on here to create these light reflections. But I just really want to create the perfect tube.
The perfect.
So there we go. So now we've kind of got all this. We sort of see the shape of our wave is kind of starting to take place and transform and happen. And now we're going to start working our nice, put out more phthalo blue. Closer to our friend phthalo green. Hi guys, how you doing? Let's get together. And
Pretty
paint
good.
a wave.
They're doing pretty. There are over 444 people here.
And they're all going to be wave painters. I just added some Indian yellow to my phthalo.
And how did you make that turquoise there?
So what I did is a phthalo blue, phthalo green, and then I just put in a little Indian yellow and some white. I'm going to get some really cool colors here now. And I'm going to, at this moment, I'm going to just start stroking this down vertically. Because we're trying to make this reflection feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're trying to do, and that's going to be about brush directionality and how we mess with the values. I could even have this be darker. Phthalo blue, phthalo green. Let's be darker on the scene. What? I didn't do that. Don't tell my daughter. The mocking will never end. I'm going to come along this edge here. I just want a nice merging of these two values. Just like I'll like color it in. I'll be like color, 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 and then behave, 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 behave. It's a weird thing that you can do. I don't think I've changed brushes very much this painting.
No, you've used those basically those two Cambridges this
I
entire
think
time.
I've just been fine, yeah. Just like I'm mixing my phthalo turquoise.
We'll see how you do when you get up there to the clouds. I guess you're already done with all the clouds, I guess.
Yeah. Do you not feel like
no?
we need to
I
visit
just
them some more?
I'm used to us going back and forth on things, but I was just looking over at it. I was like, you're kind of done with the clouds.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I guess there's just the little spritz of.
Right now, what we're doing is we're getting some color, like some stuff in this zone. We're working in the zone, the danger zone. And then we're going to have to do stuff like warming this cone, cooling this outer edge, right?
And then your little highlights on the wave edge. That's
Oh,
where you may change.
This is going to be so fun. When the waves start to come together, it's super fun. Because we still just, we're wanting to make this all feel very wet.
Now your Indian yellow is your medium yellow, right?
Yep.
So any any medium yellow will be.
Well, it's my deep. It's my yellow deep.
It's your yellow deep. So any deep yellow would be a good substitute.
So now I'm going to do a crazy thing. I'm going to just wipe off my brush.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to put out some yellow ochre. Because I'm bananas.
Some bananas.
I'm bananas. I haven't rinsed it though. I'm going to come in here and you can see it's going to take on a green aspect.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm going to get a little cad red. And I'm going to mix it in. And this outer edge
makes for your beach.
Yeah, we're going to start doing this. So the trick with the beach is going to be a marriage of horizontal and then vertical strokes, and that's how we're going to get the water effect.
Now, would you consider this a soft brush?
Okay, so this is stiff enough for heavy body paint, right? But it's the mix of bristles, so it does an interesting blending thing. There's a reason why oil artists like these. And I think sometimes acrylic artists don't realize how much they can learn from oil painters. Not always, not our group, but just in general in life. Because they think the mediums aren't related, when they actually have a lot more in common than you think.
Yeah, it's true.
Alright, so I'm just painting this as this sort of grayed out green sand that I've got going here. As I'm moving towards the center, I'm going to put out some more. Put out some fresh Indian yellow. Alright, that's going to mix into my mixture with my oxide, and I'm going to get a little of my cad red and warm this up, right?
Yeah.
Because it's towards this middle part where it's going to be warmer. Warmer, dudes. And again, it's just the first part of the painting where we're blocking in our values. So don't be too precious about it, because we're going to be coming back with some thoughts and feelings on this sand, making it seem so wet and rich. Just getting the white out of there. See me getting the white out? Get going.
Just
Get going. Okay. So now we kind of are seeing that we have this little space. A couple things, weird things I want to do. Rinse out my brush really well. I'm going to dry it out with my towel, like you do. I might even grab just to mess with y'all, number 8 bright black pearl. Just before everyone decides, oh, you got to have only that brush. I'm going to take some white. I'm going to come along the top of this with just a line. And I'm going to very softly dry brush down in a curve this white paint.
Oh, yeah.
This is not going to stay white. This is going to actually become our sun reflection. I'm just pulling this down. Pull it down in the curve. Along the top of here, I might bring a little of this dry brushed over, and then on the top of this curve, let's add some of that for light. Some can come down here. I'm going to put a little white back into my wave here that's going to be like a light reflection. And then, of course, a little bit happening here. But I still want what's happening underneath to shine through. Alright, so I have that happening there. Pretty happy with that. Hey, I'm actually pretty happy with that.
I really like how that the barrel wave came in there with those highlights. It turned it really
no,
cool.
it's going to be real pretty.
Yeah.
It's going to be real pretty. Pretty. Pretty princess.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm ready.
So now, let's work this out. Work it, girl. More phthalo blue. Like it was badly behaved and didn't get itself on my palette, and now I'm mad at it. My baby brush is going to get me through this. It's a good brush. Mama been painting with you all day, and you've just been so well behaved. Oh, I switched to the Grand Prix. Oops. Grand Prix softer than Cambridge. All right, so I'm going to get back into my deep colors, my deep soul. See me mixing there? Phthalo blue, phthalo green. That's the jam. And I'm going to come right back in the middle of this wave. Just pulling this, right? Let's get this watery. Water everywhere. What's nice is when the orange and yellow comes against this, it's going to actually deepen this in this really cool way that I rather like. All right. So I'm just blending. It's okay to run a dark shadow down the front of this. Just blending, 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 blending. Just want these two to...
Oops.
Just come in here, right?
My memory card
And
is
we got
full.
to take this... What?
My memory card is full.
What does that mean?
Well, that means that I need to swap memory cards, apparently. You've been recording for a while, so you get a little sippy, and I'll swap memory cards.
Oh, okay. Let me go like this.
Go like that. That part
I
I won't
mixed
get.
this paint. I got to get it out.
Get it on there.
Oh, no. I don't know what the memory card is full means.
Oh, no. Just, RoboCam. I have a separate memory card running on RoboCam.
I am just trying to deepen that. All right, because we had such a beautiful phthalo turquoise. We got to really, really work those values, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is going to be about. I just got to... There's this little section, it's got to be wet,
You're okay.
Don.
You're okay.
Am I okay?
Yeah, you're totally
I'm
okay.
freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, and it's got to be wet.
No.
So I'm going to take a little of my Indian yellow into this mixture, add a smidge of the blue, and then I'm going to tip this with a little bit of white. See how it looks right there?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to be coming across this, and I'm going to pull this reflection into this water here. If I lose it, I get a little more white. Grab a little Indian yellow. I'm just trying to make sure that I have this reflection pulling down my water. A little more phthalo. Right, here we go. Can you see how it's just starting to feel a little more watery coming forward on the wave now? A little more phthalo. But we want it to be streaky, right? Let's make this streaky. Wet, watery. See how we got that streak in there? Very important. Now right here, I'm going to get a little more of my Indian yellow and green and some white, because this is the corridor of light. And I will blend this softly going out, because things are warmer as they are close to the sun, and then they'll cool down to the outside. See how that's warm here? I'm so sorry I'm doing this. Is it okay? You're like, well, you're not going to stop anyways, so. Sippy, sippy. Let my mind rest a second. Feeling pretty good about that. Getting there. Getting there, getting there. Got to keep pulling that though. Got my sip. Got my sip. Pulling right into the white. Back into the green, right into the white. You can see how that's on the tip of my brush, right? Another thing that's going to happen here. I'm going to come along here, and I'm going to very lightly put in a little reflection. And maybe one here too. See this?
Mm-hmm.
This is of the wave. Little white, little yellow in here. Just take this out a couple places, just real light. Maybe a little bit there. Just a smidge. Come back in. I'm going to get my white on my brush again. Just like... Now I'm going to rinse this out. Then we're going to do the phthalo blue, phthalo green, dog's purple, little ultramarine blue, smidge of cad. Come right here in the wave, deepen this. Again. right? Pull this dark, dark value under here, pull it down. Trying to just make sure that these objects have their range of value that they have to look like what they are. I'm mixing it back up again, making sure it's just rich enough, it's dark enough. Now, believe it or not, at the lip of the wave, you also need to have a little bit of this coming up. We're going to come back with foam. Notice I'm leaving a bit of a highlight there.
Mm-hmm.
So between these two things, what we're going to end up making is a shadow, a really awesome highlight, switching to a smaller brush. Back into phthalo blue, phthalo green, makes phthalo turquoise. Some nice white to it. It can be more green on this wave. Even more white. I'm going to just very lightly on the corner here, dry brush this. I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Just pulling it up. Maybe get some of the deeper value of it. Now, Indian yellow into that phthalo turquoise mixture. Lots of white. We come underneath here. We're going to start lighting the top of this wave up. Lighten it up. Bringing it down. How are they doing? Any questions?
Oh, God, let's see. If you look back over here. So yeah, so Corey was asking, do the colors dry sometimes different than they look wet?
That's called color shift, and yes, they do.
Oh,
That
okay.
is one of the things that happens in acrylic paint. Certain brands of paint do it to you less than others.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the more professional paint is, the less it's going to color shift on you.
Right.
That's one of the reasons we upgrade. Otherwise, we'd just be like in the little 59-cent bottles forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good deal. But it's color shift. That's one of the motivators. I'm adding more yellow and some white.
And now sometimes there's also they may have a different sheen to them as well.
Yes, sometimes they're matte, sometimes they're glossy, and that's one of the reasons why people like to varnish. So this is my brush is dirty, Indian yellow, and a lot of white. Coming underneath here, pulling this down. Get my glaze going. Look at that. Right here with that light color. Maybe a little of that lighter color up here.
Mm-hmm.
You can always take some of that down here. Come across just a little bit. Look at this cross stroke. Kind of makes it look wetter. It's a weird deal. I'm gonna maybe a little bit of this highlight right here, even though I'm coming back with the orange, just a little bit. Okay, how are we doing?
Looking really good.
It just starts to. It's the
Yeah.
weirdest deal. It just starts to look okay.
Just comes together there.
So we know that it's Indian yellow, a little cad yellow, some cad orange, and a lot of white. And we're going to come here and Add that little highlight into that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's coming through. By the way, it should come down here like that. Should come over the top like this.
Gotcha.
And a little bit back here. Right? Get my glaze. And I'm going to come up over top of this wave with this glazed yellow over this white. Look what it does.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes when you're translating a digital painting to a painting, you have to be kind of innovative to get similar, like John was talking about, like if it's a luminous painting versus the reflective painting.
Well, if you're looking at an image that is luminous versus reflective, paintings are always reflective.
So, yes.
Because
Well, they're all paintings, even if they're digital.
Well, yeah, anything that's painted in our physical world is a physical painting and is reflective, unless it has a backlit where it is self-luminous.
I just added a little cad yellow. I'm going to get a little more white, though. I want this to be an even lighter value at the top. Look at that. Maybe a little of that right here, huh? Definitely at the top, a little bit down here. So this is what we're doing. We're just talking about the curl and the way that these colors will reflect in this world. All right. Now, we get our am I out of phthalo blue again?
Maybe.
Hey! Stay. You're my color today, aren't you, phthalo blue?
Here so.
You're the color that I love today, 'cause I keep using you. Hey, hey, hey. And a little purple. All right, so we've got a nice little shadow here. We can come back really easily and just make sure that these values are rich, right? You can bring some of this up. Come underneath here, make sure it's deep. Are you deep?
I don't know.
Are you deep? Come back here. No, where you got to have it deep. So the foam is an interesting little beast because some of it's in shadow and some of it's in light. Some of it is cool, some of it is warm. So let's get in our cool foam first, which guess what? Already on this brush is the color that we need for the cool foam. We don't even have to work harder. Just hug yourself with the joy of that. So I'm going to take my messy brush. I love you, messy brush. And you can see I'm mixing some white into that, right? And it's making this sort of purplish cool foam color. It needs to be a light value because, you know, foam. And I'm going to come along the edge of my little wave here. I'm not even doing a splatter or anything. Look at this nice shadow foam. This is foam and shadow. Now that doesn't mean that we're not going to come put some highlighted foam. Drag some highlights up. Going here. See what we're doing? Up the little barrel goes the foam. It does that. Barrel, 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 barrel. This is just a number 4 Cambridge Bright. Sometimes I'm just I'm gonna remind everybody that tools are a joy, but the art's in you. Just grabbing some more white. Along here. Right? Now, the other kind of dark shadow foam. The shadow foam. That sounds like a really good sci-fi movie. Creepypasta kind of thing. All right. We're going to come along here. I'm on the corner of my brush. And I'm doing weird little movie bits. Because what does foam do? It's freedom. It is the breath of the ocean, right? I'm just coming along this little edge. Little dashes and little irregular shapes. Don't want regular shapes. That would be just confusing. Just back, you can see I'm just going back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I come back here over this foam, I'm gonna make it warmer because it's in the center. I could have some cool foam right here a little bit. It'll have some warmth over it, but mostly it'll be cool.
And that's because it's off the edge of the canvas.
It is the furthest from the sun. It's a little bit away from the sun, so it's a little bit cooler. That's all we're talking about.
And that creates that interesting dimension.
Dimensionality, value, shape, presence, all the stuff that we get to play with on our canvases. Now, I get to rinse out my brush. I feel so lucky.
I think shadow foam was a comic book character from the 90s.
Really?
Well, they shadowed everything.
Shadow foam, where other foam dare not go.
No.
In the dark depths of the ocean, shadow foam rights the wrongs and solves the justice.
That's right. The shadow
However,
foam.
could we get teased on YouTube? I don't even know.
know.
All right. So I have my white here.
Shadow
It's
foam.
still got some of this interesting grayed purple color, but I need it to be a lighter value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to give the foam some dimensionality. So let's come in,
Can't be in the shadow forever.
right? Add some foam that's not as,
Mysterious.
yeah. Look at this here. You could do little circles if you felt so like you needed it. I never feel like I need it, but fun stuff that you can do. And this is lighter, so now this foam can go to the edge here. Even though it's not pure white, this foam can be the heavier foam, the shadow of the foam. And then this is the highlight of the shadow foam. See, it's so complicated. Along the top of this edge, very lightly, I am putting in a little bit of a story of the break, right? Little circular motions, just using the edge of my brush. Right? Come up here. Oh, what's happening? I don't know. Circular little brush. And then maybe some more thought right here as you're coming along. I could have some, let's get some stuff, right? Yeah, some stuffy stuff. A little bit there. All right, rinsing. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to rinse my brush. You're like, what? I'm like, I know. It's crazy, but I'm not. I'm going to get a little of my Indian yellow on here. Work that through. Bunch of white. And now, I'm going to come and add this. Even more white. But see, the brush is a little bit dirty with the Indian yellow. Has a little of that pigment in it. So when I'm working this foam, look, the warm foam. Where else can this warm foam go? It can go right here. Can it? Oh, warm foam. Why is it warm? Because it's right here.
And you can just use any old brush you want to try to put your foam on with.
Yes!
Just however you feel like.
Whatever is comfortable to you. The tool you use is the best tool.
Yes.
I love having lots and lots of tools because I use all my tools. And I do think sometimes tools can be better engineered for a task.
Yeah.
I'm going to just add some just bright white there. And then, look at me coming down here. Maybe a little more cad yellow on that white. Come here, cad yellow. There we go. I just want some water reflection. Let's finish out the sand, and then we will have waved.
We will have wave.
At a very cool sunset-y wave. Let's go back and make our sand warm. I'm going to sip my coffee. How you guys feeling?
Pretty good.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm doing. Yeah, we're having a good time here.
Corona very hot. It looks very hot on the main screen, but it's not hot on the other screen, right?
Let's see here.
Oh yeah, it's normal. Yeah, okay. That's how it looks.
Yeah.
That's how it looks.
That's a little. This is a little brighter.
A little warm.
Here. Yeah.
But let's get this reflection in because I think that's an important part of this piece, which is this reflection. Okay, so we know that the outer side is going to be a little bit cooler, right? So it's kind of got that phthalo turquoise dusted on my brush into my yellow ochre. Get some glazing medium. This is one of those great places where it's just so nice to have a bit of a glaze. So I'm just doing the outer side here and the outer side here. You're not trying to get grass green. This is like, there's just a little green reflection in the sand. I'm going to wipe my brush off, but I don't want to rinse it. I'm going to get a little of my cad yellow, my Indian yellow. I'm going to come in here, the white, and warm up the sand. Blending, blending. So back and forth blending. See the blending? Warming up the sand. Warm up your sand. So what you're trying to make this in here is a little more orange and a little warmer.
Oh yeah, and you're doing horizontal strokes now.
Right now, just for a second, horizontal, because we're going to come do something crazy in a second.
Crazy.
Let's get a little more yellow on there and a little more white. Right in the center, right? Coming down here. Let's warm up the sand with a little more of the orange. We're coming back here. Glaze, 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 glaze. Glaze, 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 glaze. Because the paint underneath is dry, so my blending technique now has to be glazes, right? Now, some of these strokes need to come down horizontal now.
Why is that?
Because the mixture of the, vertical. Some of the strokes need to be horizontal and some of them need to be vertical. It is the way light reflects down the sand. So like if I've got a little bit of a light here, see? But some of it goes vertical, it helps it feel like, come on this side, say there's a little bit of light here. Coming, 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 coming. See?
Nice.
Now, through the center here, I'm going to get a little of my yellow, I'm going to do Indian yellow, and some white. There it is on the brush.
That's pretty cool.
What's happening down here? We are reflecting sun
On the sand.
in the sand. I'm going to get my white just loaded on my brush and a bead. Everything's still on there. It's still kind of dirty. Just soften this edge here. This is just me using a soft brush brusher. Can we see our sand reflection now? Is our sand wet? So easy to make sand wet.
So you can see that.
What do we do when we finish a painting, Mr. Cooney?
You sign it.
We sign it. Why do we sign it?
Because that way we know who does
our
it.
signature is going to be worth so much money someday.
So people know who made it.
So people know who made it. I don't personally add the year to my paintings.
No.
And the reason why is I used to sell my art.
Yeah.
And if you add the year and say you don't sell a piece for a while, then it makes it really impossible to sell a piece later.
So it can create a dated time frame around your work.
That's it.
It's a perception, not necessarily a.
But is it wrong to add a date to your work if you're not selling it?
It's just
No.
subjective. Yeah.
Just a question I was asked, is it wrong? No. Reason why some artists, you know what? No, I'm okay.
I can see you signing there. We're all zoomed in. Thinking about doing a different color.
Yeah, it's okay though. I'm actually happy with that.
I like that.
All right, so I've signed it, I painted it, I taught it. Now you know how to do it. We're just paying it forward in the art world, aren't we? We're just putting it out there, doing it live, getting to answer questions, and demoing some blending. I love lives for that, don't you?
Yeah.
And I love that you guys came and that you stayed and you participated in this event. Means a lot to me. You can share your artwork with me. We have like uploads. You can just upload stuff on our website. That's a feature that we have.
Yes.
Continue to chat with each other on our website in the Red Room. That's the feature that we have. You can also share this in the ArtSherpa official if you want to share with your friends and you need to save space to share your art. That's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest.
And thank you for guys hanging out with us. We love having you guys here, part of our family. It's so nice.
I hope you put up with some more sunny skies because I'm on this jam right now.
We got some more sunsets coming, don't we?
We do have some more sunsets coming. And we have that really cool cloud angel coming Tuesday.
Yeah.
We have a really cool hair quest coming up where we're just going to work on hair until we got hair down. And on top of the sunsets and everything, we have that really cool Italian village on the coast, which is going to be easier to paint than you think. It's going to be really loose and expressive. So,
And Space Week.
Space Week, live all week, all space, all week.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun.
So fun. So be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I'm going to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.